Welcome to the 2023 State of Hispanic Business Forum. My name is Javier Suarez. I'm the Vice President of Strategic Partnerships for the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We are so excited to have you here today. I think you're going to really enjoy our program this morning. I hope you've enjoyed the coffee and the great treats from Cafe Tinto. Cafe Tinto from North Philly, you should check them out. Always great food. I want to first mention WHYY. They have been just wonderful partners in hosting us here today, from Tori to Joanna. What an incredible staff. We've got the man in charge back here, Bill Marazzo, who is always so gracious in welcoming the chamber to its facilities here. You've walked down the hallway, and I would imagine you've seen the studios to your right. This is where all the magic happens. So if you want to learn more, you can always go on their site, check them out. They're just a wonderful institution, and we're so glad to be here today. For many of you who have seen our promotion over the last month, you may have noticed that we originally had Laura Barron Lopez to be a part of our event today. She is the PBS White House correspondent, national correspondent, and she's been called to duty because there's a lot happening around the world. And she really wanted to make sure that I expressed her fine wishes for all of you to really enjoy yourselves here today. And she greatly apologizes for not being here today. I said, you do what you have to do. We'll do what we have to do. But thank you very, very much. And I just want to, just a spiritual round of applause for her because she really wanted to be here today. We have staff in the room that I want to mention, of course. We have Paul Wheatley, who's in the back, Kieran O'Connell, Maria Cristina Rios, Rafael Cruz, who you met out front, and our newest member, Mayra Soto, over there. There you go. Get to know her. It takes work to put on an event like this, and we like to feel that we're doing our best for you. We consider ourselves a small staff, but a mighty staff, and we are certainly very, very happy to see you all here today. Tell them I'm busy. You'll call back. After our discussion, I mentioned earlier that some of you will be asked to go into a conference room so we can continue our discussion. But all of you can also continue to stick around for more coffee, more food, and to make sure that you visit the organizations that are here today. They really want to get to know you, share information with you, and hopefully it'll be a worthwhile experience. Let's get the program underway, and we have our first speaker. Our first speaker is the chairman of the board at the Board of Directors at the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And his name is Nestor Torres. Nestor, come on up.
Bienvenidos a nuestra programación de hoy. Welcome to our program of today. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you so much for coming. It's an exciting time. It really is, on many fronts. But first and foremost, good morning to all. Good morning. Good morning. There you go. All right. So welcome to the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber's annual State of Hispanic Business. The event where leaders from around the region gather to discuss the trends and the issues that impact economic growth of the Hispanic community. We're present in this event because it matters to you. It matters to the region, economically, and beyond. Today's agenda is rich with great content. We will begin with Elizabeth Walsh from WBEC East, who will provide us with insights about the impact of women entrepreneurs in our economy. Can we hear that again? That's right. You're setting the stage for a powerful conversation with three remarkable Latina entrepreneurs, moderated by Jennifer Rodriguez, our chamber CEO and president. Once the roundtable discussion concludes, we'll invite women with the business owners to join a breakout session where we will network and talk about today's resources and more. I must confess that of the events that the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce hosts annually, the State of Hispanic Business is one of our favorites, one of my favorites, one of our signature events. Is one that very few times during the year, perhaps the only time, in which leaders from across the region gather to focus on the issues that impact the advancement of Latinos in our community. When it comes to having the impact on the US economy, Latinos are far more than just consumers. We are an entrepreneurial force, a powerhouse. Latinos are starting businesses at 3 times the general population rate, outpacing all other groups. And females, Latinas, are leading the way. Did you know that in the US, there's nearly 5 million Latino-owned businesses that generated over $8 billion in revenue last year? That's bigger than GDP of many economies and countries. The fact is, small businesses continue to be the greatest source of employment growth in our economy, and the most new jobs are not created by the Amazons or the Facebooks of the world, although we may think that. Most new jobs are created incrementally, the old-fashioned way. By small businesses, fewer than 250 employees. Our nation's job creators may not make it to the front pages of Forbes magazines or Inc., but we should celebrate them because they truly represent what's capable in today's economy. These are the construction firms, the coffee roasters, auto repair shops, the restaurants, the grocers, the jewelers, the bakers, the candlestick makers. There are over 20,000 Hispanic businesses in the region, and if they were to grow modestly by 1 or 2 employees, we would add thousands of jobs in our neighborhoods that need them the most. And that's something to consider. 1 job, 2 jobs for every business that we have can employ a lot of people within our communities. What would be the impact of Latinos overall, who in Philadelphia are 38% and have the highest poverty rates in Philadelphia and the region? So it costs our community when Latino businesses do not scale up, do not have access to resources that is culturally accessible to them, language accessible to them. It's very important for those things to all come together and culminate. At the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, we deeply believe that the success of the local and regional economy is inextricably linked to the success of Hispanics and Latinos within our region and beyond. For this reason, we have created the Latino Small Business Agenda, which prioritizes our work and where we can focus to make sure that we continue to support and leverage the success in our communities. In 2023 and beyond, we will focus our public policy and advocacy on 5 main priorities. First, lowering the cost of doing business, focusing on the continued reduction of the BERT tax here in Philadelphia. Second, preventing crime and improving safety, the top concern of diverse businesses, and above taxes. If we don't have safe neighborhoods, people don't spend in the neighborhood. Improving the ease of doing business, because obtaining licenses and permits is just too complicated, it takes too long, and it's too costly. We need to find better ways to quickly be able to do commerce. Improving diversity in the supply chain. Philadelphia, in particular, has one of the biggest sectors within eds, meds, and if you go on further, you have pockets in certain sectors within our region. And so for us, it's the surest way to scale and create wealth. And finally, supporting the access, management, and control of capital. Because the right type of capital infusion at the right moment in the right time within the business cycle makes a big difference in how to look at the future success of that business and put that business on the right track. So at the Chamber, we're committed to closing the opportunity gap and to reducing the structural poverty that hampers the growth and the development of our city. We look forward to working with you in order to take action and craft policies that support the Hispanic community, because we know that our community can succeed and is a powerhouse when access and the right resources are allowed to be utilized for growth and wealth creation. So, with that being said, to help set the stage for our panel discussion, I would like to introduce you to Elizabeth Walsh, the President of the Women's Business Enterprise Council East. One of 14 regional partners organizations that provide the WBEC certification for women-owned businesses. Elizabeth, who joined the organization in 2017, believes in consensus building and creating collaborative partnerships to advance supplier diversity initiatives and increase opportunities for women-owned businesses. She is a native of Philadelphia and a graduate of the University of Scranton. Elizabeth has been a founder of 2 nonprofit organizations, including Suited for Success of Bucks County, PA. She regularly engaged in her passion for helping small businesses achieve success, even after the workday is done. Please help me welcome Elizabeth Walsh to the stage.
Thanks, hon. Thank you. Thanks. I didn't know you were going to say all that, or I wouldn't have come up so quickly. So following Nestor, I will share the, after 3 years of Spanish education in high school, the only way I know how to open up a meeting like this is in the nombre de Padre, del Hijo, del Espíritu Santo, Amen. And I remember, me gusta cerveza. So that's about it. So, yes, so I work with WeBec East. We are the all things entrepreneurial. In the city of Philadelphia, our territory is the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the state of Delaware, and 8 counties in South Jersey. So we have a pretty big footprint. And I know we're talking about the state of Hispanic businesses. My background is predominantly in women-owned businesses, so I'm going to highlight that. But I can tell you that I see women and men in the room. There's probably something that WeBec East can be helping you with. We are a women's business center through the SBA, which means that we can serve men as well. But we took a look at a woman-owned business, the life cycle. So we kind of separated our trainings and offerings into startup, scale, sustain, and sunset. And for a woman-owned business, a sunset doesn't necessarily mean succession planning. Those of us who have children, we sunset because the sun rises tomorrow when we go out on maternity leave. So there's a lot of classes and different things. I came here like a fool without business cards. So I'll tell you my email address and my phone number, and I'll repeat it at the end in case you don't have your pen out. So my email address is ewalsh@webeceast.com. My cell phone is 215-936-9392, just for any follow-up questions. So I wanted to, we've just kind of been starting to get into the needs based on the Hispanic and Latino populations that we serve. And we had, I don't know how many of you are familiar with Med Week, but we had a Spanish class, Breaking Barriers Like a Boss, and it was all in Spanish and very well attended. I don't know if anyone here was there. You could lie. Oh, good. Yeah, you guys would. Yeah. Okay. So just a couple of kind of interesting and thought-provoking statistics. Women make up 51% of the U.S. population, but as of 2022, only own 20.7% of small businesses with employees. So there's a little bit of a disconnect there. We have a couple of women business owners in the room. Can you guys stand up? I know 3 of you. Yeah, there we go. So this is, WeBec East also provides certification to identify and ensure that it is a woman-owned business, but there's minority certification, there's LGBTQ, there is disabled veteran and veteran. And it's more important that you're doing business with women-owned businesses and small and diverse businesses, Hispanic, Latino, minority businesses, more so than even certified businesses. We want those dollars to stay close to home. And I love what Nestor said about if we could scale up Hispanic businesses just with 1 or 2 more employees, what an economic impact that would have on the area and, of course, on your own families. Who thinks that 1988 was a long time ago? You're showing your age. Okay, well, sit down, you young folk. I don't think it was that long ago. Did you know that that's when women could legally apply for a business loan? 1988. That wasn't that long ago, kids. Yeah, only in 1988 were we allowed to apply for a business loan. Women-owned businesses, on average, have 42% less revenue than businesses owned by men. So again, you saw those folks who stood. We want to increase their revenue. Not at the cost of male-owned businesses, but just to level the playing field, because we've been fighting it a long time, and 1988 should be even further in the background. In 2022, only 1.9% of women-owned firms seeking venture capital got funded. How many of the male-owned firms do you think got? 80.9%. So women got 1.9% of VC funding, whereas male-owned businesses got 80.9%. We here in the territory that I just talked about, we have over 1,750 certified women-owned businesses. There are 18,000 in the continental United States and all of our territories. So the numbers are growing. And it's interesting to see where we're seeing the highest population of our women-owned businesses. 21% are in construction, 11% are in consulting and professional, and another 11% are in manufacturing. But that doesn't take into account all of the smaller, the sole proprietors. 14% of all of the certified women-owned businesses that we work with are sole proprietors and single employee LLCs. So that's, not the highest number, but in 2022, I don't have all my 2023 stats yet, but in 2022, 30% of the new women entrepreneurs that we're working with were sole props and single or two employees. So we see that the strength of the growth is definitely coming through our small business sector. The ethnicity that we work with is predominantly white. We have 16% women of color. Of that, 7.5% are Black, 4% are Asian and Pacific Islander, only 2.5% are Hispanic. So I think this is a really timely agenda and event held by the Hispanic Chamber, because we need to see more than 2.5%. So let's all say it together. En nombre del Padre, del Hijo, del Espíritu Santo, amen. Let's raise those numbers. 1.5 are multi-ethnic and 0.5 are Native American. But I do have hope because, again, these are 2022 statistics. 29% of the new women entrepreneurs that we saw were women of color. which includes the Hispanic and Latina population. So we're seeing you grow. We're seeing the growth, which is fantastic. Also, what is important to recognize when you're talking about a woman-owned business is the flexibility and the ability to adapt. 33% of the newly certified women business owners that we work with launched their business after the pandemic. That takes bravery. So we're seeing a lot of, we had some during the pandemic, and you know what? We're still dealing with it. You know, I walked over here with someone who had high heels. I'm like, what the hell? I have not worn high heels in 3 years, and I don't think I can anymore. So I was so impressed. She was going over those cobblestone streets with no problem. But we're still, in our personal lives, as well as in the business life, dealing with the post-pandemic world. So I think it's really important that we're seeing so many people start their businesses post-pandemic. We have, in 2022, 12% who started their businesses were under the age of 34. So we're seeing kind of both the extremes of the younger folks, next gen as we call them, and the individuals who we're calling them entrepreneurs, those people of a certain age who have already had their business, had their career, and are now looking at what's next. And we're seeing a lot of folks come in like that. And that also is post-COVID because there were a lot of individuals who left the healthcare and the educational industries and are now thinking, I can start a business. So we did do a poll to see specifically what challenges the women of color that we work with are facing, and those who are already in business. And it's the two that you would think of, supply chain issues and workforce challenges. But the biggest thing that specifically our women of color talked about was access to capital. So we're still working on that. There still is a bias, so I'm thrilled to see Fulton and TD Bank here because they're two that don't have that kind of bias. But there is still a difficulty for minority populations to access the capital that they need to grow and sustain their business. And also we're seeing a need from the minority groups that we work with. I hate the word minority. The Hispanic and the Latino populations that we work with, the cool kids, I should say, in creating a digital presence. So we're starting to do a lot more with that. And again, a result of COVID. So I'll say my phone number again. I think I only had 3 to 5 minutes. So Javier, I hope I'm good. Okay, so my phone number again is 215-936-9392. You can always text me, tell me who you are, and I'll get back to you. But I do think that there's something that WeBec East could be doing for everyone in this room, even if it's just pointing you in the direction of women suppliers so that you can do your business locally. We actually can even produce Philadelphia-based and not necessarily certify. We just want you to do business with each other within our own communities. So thanks, kids.
Thank you, Elizabeth. You've all gotten an email from me regarding today, so if for any reason you didn't get her information, just email me and I'll be happy to get it out to you. I want to thank our sponsors, Comcast and SEPTA, for supporting our event today. We've had a wonderful support from our sponsors, and we're going to hear a few words very shortly from TD Bank, our presenting sponsor. But before that, I'd like to have you watch a quick video.
At TD Bank, we see the story behind every transaction.
Look, Nana, Grandma got me all the nights.
Like yesterday, when this grandma went big for Nate's birthday, Nana went big too.
Bouncy castle.
Now I'm a real knight.
But she didn't expect the extra charge.
$75 for air? That overdrew my account.
No.
There's a story behind every overdraft. That's why TD Overdraft Relief gives you an extra day to fix it and avoid the fees. TD Bank, unexpectedly human.
All right, and with that, let me introduce to you from TD Bank, Ricardo Carrion. He is the Retail Market Manager for the Philadelphia region. Ricardo?
Buenos dias. All right, so 1988 was not that long ago. I definitely had a lot more hair back then, but you know, I just felt like it was just yesterday. So I was just kind of, it was really struck me with that. And then just seeing all the women entrepreneurs in the room stand up again. I just want to give you guys another round of applause for that. That is very, very impressive. Definitely is a sight to see. So congratulations for that. Anybody that wants to have a conversation, we're happy to have a conversation with you over at our table. But good morning, as you were told, mi nombre es Ricardo Carrion. I am the Retail Market Manager in Philadelphia for TD Bank, and I'm honored to be here with you guys this morning on behalf of TD as the presenting sponsor. As we all know, businesses of all sizes, especially small businesses, are an integral part of any community. This is true in our diverse neighborhoods in Philadelphia and throughout the tri-state area. TD Bank is a top 10 bank in the US, with its headquarters in the greater Philadelphia area. We have 9.9 million customers and nearly 1,100 stores, with more than 330 of those located right here in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. We offer a variety of consumer and business banking products and services and work with companies of all sizes. In fact, companies from the smallest shops to middle market enterprises get an assigned relationship manager at TD Bank so that they have a local contact and advocate. TD gets to know your business so we can offer trusted advice at every step of the business life cycle, from getting your first loan to planning generational wealth. We are also making market-wide efforts in the US to become the bank of choice for minority-owned businesses, and we're committed to providing access to financial services across our diverse customer base in the communities that we serve. However, just as importantly, we also pride ourselves on showing up and supporting the communities in which we live and work each day. In fact, our commitment has always extended beyond our locations and offerings as we continue to focus on making a positive, meaningful difference in the lives of our customers, colleagues, and community members, because TD has always been more than just another bank, and that is what has always set us apart. Thank you to the Chamber for organizing this wonderful event. The food was awesome. And thank you all for being here today, for joining us. I hope you are looking forward to today as much as I am.
All right, you ready for the main discussion? This is going to be fun. Okay, leading the discussion is the Chamber's President and CEO of the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Let me introduce to you Jennifer Rodriguez.
Buenos dias, good morning. Well, I am a cheap substitute for the NPR White House correspondent, but I'll try and do my best. Maybe I'll get a job after this in PBS. Unlikely, so I think you're stuck with me. Okay, so I am so very excited to be here today to have this conversation about Latinas in business. So why don't we bring Bettina Mercado, president of Bettina Cosmetics, Nicole Varona Cancelmo, co-founder of Ocoa, and Shannon Maldonado, founder of Yaoi. And I'm going to say a little bit about each of them, and then we are going to get on with I hope it's a really meaty discussion and Q&A, and any questions that are left over, we're gonna handle them at the breakout session. So, Bettina Mercado is visiting from Puerto Rico, so bienvenida a Philadelphia.
Gracias. Good morning.
She is the president of Bettina Cosmetics, a family-owned business she took over in 2008. How many women from Puerto Rico here, perhaps? Couple of us? Did you not grow up with Bettina nail polish? Do you know what I'm talking about? Anyway, I grew up with it, and I was like, we're gonna be talking about Latinas in business, and somebody needs to find the owner of Bettina Cosmetics and bring her over here. And so Javier, our in-house Sherlock Holmes, was able to do that. You don't understand. Well, you probably do. All your staff are probably like, you're getting all these calls from Philadelphia. We don't know who they are. In any case, so under her leadership, the company diversified its product range, created a line of cosmetics designed for Latinas, offering a wide range of skin tones and vibrant island-inspired color cosmetics. She has led a remarkable growth with a 400% increase in total market and the creation of 28 new jobs. Today, Bettina Cosmetics marks 60 years celebrating Latina beauty, and the brand has expanded its reach beyond Puerto Rico. And so we want Bettina Cosmetics in Pennsylvania. We'll make that happen, right? Okay. Nicole Varona Cancelmo, co-founder of Ocoa, and her sister, the second half of the company is on the front here. They produce high-end hair care. It's a high-end hair care brand dedicated to helping Latinas embrace their natural curls and self-confidence. Its premium curly hair products are inspired by the beauty of the Dominican Republic and feature clean, nourishing ingredients. They want to empower curly women or curly-haired women to embrace their authentic selves, providing them with high-quality, safe, and effective hair products. She and her sister, Corey, led the creation of Ocoa in 2021. And as the co-founder and chief marketing officer, she plays a pivotal role in shaping the brand's marketing strategy and creative direction. And finally, and not least, is Shannon Maldonado, the founder of Yaoi. She is a visionary in the world of fashion and design, whose journey has been marked by creativity and innovation. With over 12 years of experience in the fashion industry, including roles at renowned brands like Ralph Lauren, American Eagle Outfitters, Urban Outfitters. Her passion for design and aesthetics is undeniable. In 2019, she took a bold step and introduced the world to her unique vision by launching Yaoi, a storefront that quickly gained recognition as the coolest shop in Philadelphia by Bon Appetit. Yaoi started as a small web shop featuring just 12 carefully curated objects, setting the stage for what would become a multifaceted creative platform. And just recently, she opened a boutique hotel in South Philadelphia. So we'll learn about their journey, right? So I think what we have here is just a fantastic, modern, this is what the new economy should look like in Philadelphia. And this is really what the economy looks like around the country, right? So I will give you a little bit of let's set the stage. We just heard from Webeck, and I was doing a little bit of research, and basically, there's a remarkable shift in the landscape of entrepreneurship. There's a surge in Hispanic-owned businesses. When we explore the trends and racial and ethnic diversity, we find a particularly inspiring narrative. The number of firms owned by women of color has grown at an astonishing rate, doubling the overall growth rate of women-owned businesses from 2014 to 2019. During this period, the number of Latina, that's Hispanic, Latina-owned businesses has increased by 40%. That's between 2014 and 2019. What makes this surge so compelling is the diverse motivations driving these women to start businesses. And I think we heard this from Elizabeth. It's a blend of necessity, flexibility, and the opportunity for entrepreneurship. And each of them is a little bit represented here. These figures reflect the incredible resilience, determination, and entrepreneurial spirit of Hispanic women, and women of color who have overcome so many challenges and disparities to contribute to the economy. So let's just have this just fantastic conversation with these fantastic women. And I'm gonna start with Bettina, and I'm gonna go around, and if you find that you wanna comment of something Bettina did, this conversation is yours. This conversation is yours. If I see a hand out, I'll acknowledge, and I'll try to leave the Q&A towards the end. I'm gonna give you a few minutes, and then we can continue it in the breakout, okay? So, Bettina, I read a little bit and I saw a couple of videos about you. And I understand that you had a major career shift and that you were in some ways compelled to take over the business of your parents. What made you say, I want to come back from New York to Puerto Rico to take over my parents' business?
Well, that was not an easy shift for me. I am an actress. I went to NYU and I have a bachelor's in acting. I spent 10 years of my life working in theater in New York. During the morning, I would work for the Gap because I was not willing to work in a restaurant, and I used to dress windows for the Gap on Fifth Avenue, and that was as close as I got to retail and business and so on. So I was mostly and mainly a dancer and an actress. And my parents, I'm the youngest of four. My parents had their business for about 38 years when they gave me that awful call that nobody wants when you think you're making it. And they said, oh, we need succession for the business. And door 1, 2, and 3 said, no, I only have you to ask. And of course, I felt offended. I was like, I'm making it. I'm doing what I wanted to do. I finally stopped working during the day, and I'm an actress 100%. Why are you doing this to me? So I guess it was a matter of necessity, but not my own. It was theirs. And I thought about it for a while, and I said, Ma, if I say no, what is your plan B? And she said, well, my plan B would be to sell. And I had grown inside that business, and that was not an option for me. When I heard that, I just thought about the business being in the hands of the L'Oreals of the world. And I thought, that is not an option. I will at least try. So I went back home in 2001 and started moving the business from her brain to mine because she had nothing written. She liked to be under the radar. Nobody knew who the brand owner was and what we were doing in Puerto Rico, and it was hard. I spent 3 years just learning the business before I could think about the possibilities.
And so, lesson for those that have a business, write things down. I mean, at the very least, so that should you not be there, somebody else can follow some directions, right? That is compelling, right? So, giving your life, your identity, and deciding that you want to take a family business owner, but really, kudos to you, and really congratulations, because not only did you take it over, but you have taken it to the next level, right? So that's fantastic.
Thank you.
And so I'm gonna ask the same question of Shannon, because Shannon, I read a little bit of your background. It seems like you are a creative, right? And that this idea, and this is very important in the Latino community, we are very culture, creativity, music, all of that is sort of genetically distributed in our community. And so many of us aspire to take that creativity and make a living out of it. Mm-hmm. And it's very hard. And you seem to be well on your way on taking all that really great stuff and actually creating a business around it. Can you tell us what inspired you and how did you get into the business world?
Well, I would say, first I do tell people that Yowie is my second career. So before starting the brand, I worked in fashion design for over a decade. Went to school for fashion design, but I've been probably making stuff since I was 6 or 7 years old, making clothes and different things. And I feel like I was very lucky in that my mom was very encouraging of like anything I wanted to do, all the crazy outfits I wanted to wear as a kid. And she really nurtured that creativity in me. And made me feel confident to go to school for design, because I think now we're in a time where like everyone talks openly about creativity and art and design, but growing up in South Philadelphia, no one was like, you're gonna be an artist. Like that wasn't a thing in the 80s or 90s. So I really had to seek my own path out in doing that and have kind of, between my family and friends, my own cheerleading squad and positivity around starting a design brand. So I think the biggest thing for me was learning how to do it from other people. And I wouldn't have started the brand if I hadn't had that valuable, decade of experience working in design. So for me, it was that I knew I needed to be doing something creative. When I first started out, I thought that was clothes, and it was for a very long time. And that was also learning a business, because I worked for these $1 million companies that have stores across America, and got to see how someone does something from start to finish versus just jumping into it on my own. So I think how I got here is that I always knew I'd be a creative person. I am a creative person, but I had to learn along the way, and it wasn't exactly linear, but I don't regret any of those experiences in fashion because they taught me the business side. They also taught me inadvertently how to be a good manager. I had a lot of really bad bosses working in fashion. It's a very toxic industry, unfortunately, and you kind of learn how to pivot and pivot and pivot. Taught me how to do public speaking because I had to present my work in front of a room of 50 people once a month, working especially at AE, but I think I just had to keep going and keep driving to do something creative. I would say as far as like making it work, I'm still figuring it out every day. We're 7 years old as a brand. We just opened a new location, which is a massive project that I had in works for over 3 years. But I'm still learning on the job every single day and figuring out how to put the pieces together.
Fantastic. Can you hear me? Great. So we have Nicole, the one half of OCOA, and you talk a lot about your culture, your identity. You talk about being inspired by the Dominican Republic. Can you tell us a little bit about how important it is, to that identity to be part of the brand that you're developing?
Absolutely. So Ocoa is actually a Taino word, and it means a place between mountains. So it was inspired by our mom's hometown, so you can actually visit Ocoa, San Jose de Ocoa in the Dominican Republic. So we really just went back to our heritage and the place that really we grew up going to in the Dominican Republic. And it's a place that really just inspired just a different side of our country, our homeland, because everybody thinks, Dominican Republic is Punta Cana. It's not. There's so much more. And we really wanted to highlight that. It was important for us to kind of bring everybody into our community, our sisterhood, nuestra hermandad, which is what we call our community. We're sisters, so it's already a family-owned business. And when you are part of Ocoa, you're a sister, you're a friend, you are part of our family. So for us, it was so important because we don't see that in beauty currently. Like, we needed to bring representation to curly hair care because we feel so, it's very personal to us, and that's why we started the business in the first place. We didn't see that walking down the aisle and retailers, like we didn't see that when we were shopping for curly hair care. And we knew it was important for us to bring that to the forefront. And why not kind of include that part of us that we grew up with so that other people can feel represented in what they were, seeing when they're shopping for curly hair care. And another aspect of it is that we wanted to really make it very bilingual. So everything in our packaging is in Spanish and in English. So it's something that for us was really, really important so that other people could relate. Just like we couldn't see it out there, we wanted to make it available for others.
And so this panel is special. This panel is special not only because it's females, sitting in front of you, but there's something important, and Nestor referred to it in our policy agenda, is diversifying the supply chain, right? That's economic development speak for. We want Latino businesses, we want Latina-owned businesses to sell their products and services to other businesses. That's where the money is. Too many Latino businesses sell goods and services to consumers and people. That's a very risky place to be. It's not as easy to create wealth that way. When you manufacture, this is, sort of like I call it that, like the hierarchy of the economy. At the very bottom of the hierarchy is me selling things to you as a consumer. The next one is distributing those things. The next one is manufacturing those things. And the next one is owning the primary materials of those things, right? So if I own the plastic, I own the gold, I own, I control the world, right? If I have the water, I control the world. And so what we have here is somebody that, we have Shannon that sells products and services to people, but she also sells design services to businesses, right? So she has diversified well on her way to being in the supply chain. We have Ocoa that manufactures products and sells products, right? And then we have Bettina the same way, right? And so that is really what we want to inspire Latino businesses to do. It's like, if you sell to the consumer level, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But do understand that the opportunities, the growth comes when you can sell to other businesses through contracts or manufacturing or distribution. So that's why this panel is so important. Which brings me to the question first to Nicole, and it is so hard to turn, you are in your kitchen, trying to be a chemist, creating this stuff for the hair, and suddenly you're like, okay, people like it, and now I need to manufacture it. So can you tell us a little bit about some of the hurdles and challenges you've had to overcome to do that? And then I'll come to Bettina, because I think, Bettina, you can probably coach her on a few things.
I'd love that. So yeah, I don't even know where to start. I mean, we have challenges every day. So for us, actually, we started the company back in 2018, so pre-pandemic. And we found a manufacturer local in Pennsylvania. Actually, before this, we started to make the products at home. So Corey actually got certified as a natural hair formulator back in 2018, because we knew that if we wanted to really bring something that was different, we really needed to learn how to do it ourselves first and test it and see if it worked. We didn't really want to put out something that was already available. That was not what we set out to do. So we started to formulate at home. I would test the products. And for me, it was like, oh my God, I'm getting better results with whatever you're making than what I'm buying at the store. And the ingredients are better. It are inspired by the Dominican Republic. Oh my God, we can sell this. So that was basically the light bulb moment of like, we have something special here. But for us, obviously very naive, because we didn't start out in beauty. I work in a financial services company. Corey did too, doing accounting. I was doing marketing. So we did have the background that was like a perfect match for starting a business. We just never knew it was gonna end up being a beauty brand. So going back, we found a manufacturer. The manufacturer was about to produce our first products, and they had an incident where they caught on fire, so they had to stop everything. We're like, oh my God, how do we move on from this? That was the biggest challenge that we kind of faced at that first moment. And so from there, we're like, okay, well, we have to find somebody new. So we started looking again, Google University, Googled again how to find another manufacturer, and we did. And Corey really had to email them like literally every day, because they wouldn't take our calls or emails or meetings, because they don't know who we are, right? Like, we have no connections. We're starting from zero, knocking on their door, like, please give us a meeting. And she finally found a connection via LinkedIn, which again, grow your network, because you never know who you know through a connection. And that's how they finally said, sure, you can come in. You have an hour. Tell us what you're trying to do. And we did, and we're so passionate about it that they were like, okay, we'll help you. And so we had a plan, and the initial plan was to launch with a collection of 5 products. Well, that got really expensive really fast, so we're like, we can't do this. We're self-funding this business. Let's start with 1, and that's what we did. So we went back to the drawing board and said, what's the product that really is needed in the market? And we started with our styling products first, which was what we really needed to see ourselves as the first consumers of the products. So we started with our curl cream, and it's 2019. We're gonna launch next year, 2020. That didn't happen. So, because as we know, a pandemic hit in 2020, and we were like, okay, this isn't gonna happen. So we take a year, to learn, to build the community. We start our social media pages. We're telling people what we're doing. We're gonna launch in a year, and we finally did in 2021. And again, 1 product, a different name, because we rebranded this year. It was not Ocoa. And we saw that people were loving the product, but the one thing that we didn't focus on was the branding. We really focused on formulating, because we wanted it to have great results, which is what we needed as the first consumers of our brand. And so for us, it was really just important to have a great product, but the branding was just not there, and it was not speaking to what we wanted to create, which was this very cultural forward brand, which Ocoa is. So we went back to the drawing board 9 months in, and we rebranded. And so finally this year, we launched our rest of the collection, shampoo and conditioner. So we finally have what we started to set out to do back in 2018, which is a full collection of curly hair care products: shampoo, conditioner, curl cream, and a styling gel. And we are now Okoa, which we're really proud to be. And so it takes time, as you can see, and it takes a lot of investment in yourself. So if you're willing to put the time into it, you can do it.
Well, and it takes, absolutely, absolutely. So it takes time, it takes money, and it takes pivoting, right? So you know, who knew that the manufacturer was gonna catch on fire, right? And then what are you gonna do? Give up? Absolutely not, you're not going to give up. But then you need to pivot, right? So beauty industry is very competitive. And you start with a nail polish and you grow the brand. So tell us a little bit about taking Bettina from the brand that it is very well known in Puerto Rico to one that now has to compete in the United States. You have now to expand, you know, your offerings. Tell us a little bit about that scaling to that next level.
Well, for us, when I got to the business, my parents already had the Bettina nail polish. And it was very small, maybe 36 shades or something like that. And then the cap was white and the branding was white for the nail polish. And then they had lipsticks that were black with gold logo. So nothing was branded. And when I got there, I said, Mom, we're importing brands from Europe mainly to distributing in Puerto Rico. And I know that you wanted to have Bettina to be your brand. We need to expand Bettina and make it something that sustains our business, hopefully to stop importing other people's brands. And we can make Bettina the one brand that is known, it's designed by Latinas and for Latinas. And she said, okay, let's do it. How do we start? And I said, the first thing we need to do is to have some sort of branding. So when you're competing with global brands, we just decided to go for differentiation. So when everybody was doing black displays with silver logos and so on at the points of sale, I decided to have my displays be white with magenta logo. So I thought, you know, that is not gonna cost me anything, but when the consumer gets to the store, they'll see black and black and black, and all of a sudden this white and magenta, what is this? They need to stop just to see what it is about. So that was the first thing I did, and obviously develop more products. And we started by going out to stores and asking other brands to find the liquid foundation and compact powder that would go for my skin. And after trying many, many brands and shades, nothing compared to my skin tone. So it was either too peachy or pink or something that was just not, you know, my skin tone, and I'm just as Latina as can be. So I thought, this is my opportunity. We need to develop products that are for our skin tones. And when we did, that was the star of the brand. You know, we launched liquid foundation and compact powder in shades that were inspired by Latina skin tones. And that obviously got us there. And as you mentioned, you just need one-star product. You get your consumers to trust what you're doing, trust your products because they try them and it's not a one-time buy. I have people that have been using that compact powder for 10, 15 years. 90% of our online sales are for US customers. And obviously that was the star product that got us there. Eventually, then we realized every year we would develop one more product until we got to the point where Bettina is a brand that has everything that you might need to beautify yourself. So eventually I said, okay, so now we're in Puerto Rico everywhere and we need to keep growing. So how do we do it? And I said to myself, well, you know, we need to get to the US. And that was tough thing to do. You know, obviously you present your products to people in the US and it's really hard. They want to talk about diversity, but not really give you a real chance to get in there. And so eventually I just said, look at your numbers. I went to the same retailers that I sell in Puerto Rico and I said, look at your numbers in Puerto Rico. And that's, you know, what opened the door for us. So in 2016, we were in 108 Walmart stores in Florida. Then, and then Navarro gave us a chance as well. It's a small chain. They have 30 points of sale. And then in the middle of 2020, we got a call from Walgreens as well saying, we need more nail polish. Everybody's doing, you know, their hands at home. And can you deliver? And I said, yes, I still have plenty of space to grow. And I have the capacity to do so. And so we were ready for the opportunities. And that's something you mentioned as well. You just have to, when nothing is happening, you have to be ready for when the opportunity comes, not the other way around. And so we got 600 more stores in the Florida area with Walgreens as well. So finally, you know, we got a chance to open the doors. Now we're hoping to expand to more states, and hopefully we'll get to, you know, help each other along the way.
Fantastic, isn't it? And so you mentioned, you know, this idea of folks, you know, companies, executives, many like to tout their inclusivity and diversity and inclusion. But the reality is that it is much harder to really be included than it may appear, right? And I think, Shannon, I'm looking at you because what you have chosen to do is probably particularly challenging as a woman of color. The design, the lifestyle industry, when you open the magazines, it is getting better, but it's, you know, it's still pretty homogeneous, right? And then deciding that you want to own a space, right? Because you can continue being a designer, working in fashion in the design industry within a company, right? You could stay at Ralph Lauren or, you know, at Urban Outfitters, but deciding that you want to be an owner. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I think I started the brand online and quickly felt like I needed to build the community offline. There was something that part of it was working with artists and makers. A lot of the objects we sell are handmade, and it felt important to have people be able to touch them and feel them, and at times to meet the actual people that make them. So within, I think we launched in May, and by September, I was planning our first pop-up shop, September of 2016. And this was something where I hadn't been in Philly for 12 years. I lived in New York. I didn't have any friends to come back to, maybe like a handful of like colleagues. And I just really humbled myself and said like, hey, I'm doing this new thing. I'd love for people to come out to it. I cold emailed 150 people to invite them to my first pop-up. A lot of those people, when I look back at the photos, are now people that are friends or people I work with and colleagues. But I knew that a physical space where people could experience these goods and also meet each other and connect was really important to building the Yowie brand and the Yowie story. But I will tell everyone in this room, because I feel like lately I see it more and more, like every small shop in your neighborhood is operating on the most delicate margins out there. I would say on average, we're at like 30 to 40%. We're working to get higher with goods that we make ourselves, but if a shop has a bad month, they could be wiped off the planet that quickly. And I would just say that, you know, everyone posts these eulogies online about how much they love that shop, and they never went into it, or they never bought anything, or they never sent a friend there. And that's something I think about more and more, because I feel very lucky that we've been able to survive for 7 years. We grew during the pandemic by really leaning into our online community, doing workshops and online events, hand delivering all of our packages, just getting the word out like, hey, we're still here, don't forget about us. I know that we're all scared and stressed, we don't know what's next, but like, we want to be a part of this community of creatives and makers. But that's something like I really want to say to everyone in this room, like every shop you know is always on the brink of something terrible. And a lot of them, like me, like I am the first person in my family to go to college. I don't have any financial literacy until like 10 months ago, honestly. And maxed out a credit card when I was a kid and then just has been figuring it out along the way. I didn't have family members or friends to build like a friends and family around off of. I just used money from the stocks I had saved working at American Eagle to start my brand. And I would say once a year we were like on the brink of like closing up and figuring out something else. And I just always something would happen where someone would come to me and be like, you know, I've seen your brand and it made me want to start something, or it made me think I could do something after this career, and it kept me going, like talking to other people. But it's really, really challenging having a physical space, especially in this economy, especially when right now we're all like thinking of, you know, how do we, that stuff is the joyful stuff, you know, the stuff I do, how do we pay our bills and make sure our kids are taken care of and that we feel okay. Like, we're doing the fun stuff. Like, you don't technically need anything that I sell, but it's stuff that will bring joy to your life, and it supports the work of others and other creative people like me. So I would say it is very, very challenging, but I love what I do. I wouldn't trade it for anything, and I have built this immense community around the shop of people that feel like-minded and want to support that. And now with our new space, I feel like we're quickly becoming an anchor on South Street, of showing South Street's history of creativity, and just people that want to do interesting things.
So, you know, here is this is the plug for the Hispanic Chamber. I think oftentimes when I talk to audiences, I tell them, entrepreneurship is not a do-it-yourself project. Quite the opposite. Entrepreneurship is a collective initiative, one in which each one of us have a role to play. Chamber of Commerce, in many ways, you can think of it as a matchmaker, right? That's one of the things we do best is, what is your need as an entrepreneur, and how can we help you meet that need, right? You need to have a good product and a good service, right? We can't do anything about that. But we can do something around the social capital in the city, the social capital around the country, to help you execute your plan. Your plan. Which brings me to, you need a plan. No plan, no business. Well, you may have a business for now, right? But with a good plan, you don't have a really long-term business. And so, to that, what I would say is look at the resources around you today. You have the Hispanic Chamber. We have a number of education programs that have yielded great results for entrepreneurs in this room and outside of this room. You have a WeBEC can get you certified if, you know, this idea of getting into the supply chain, this idea of having contracts, so that, you know, when you have a contract with an institution, that is stability, right? And that helps you as an entrepreneur, you know, get to buy time so you can scale. You can go to a bank and say, I have a contract of $200,000. Can you advance me part of this, right? So, and having people like your bankers that are invested in your success because they want you to borrow more later, right? So I think it's really building that network, and it's hard to do it for yourself. So there are organizations like WeBEC, like Hispanic Chamber, that are invested in really trying to do that for you, right? So I just want to make sure that not only Shannon, not only Nicole, and of course Bettina, we're talking about you need to come to the United States. You know, we have a great network, and we're like, well, who do we need to introduce you to? Who do you want to meet? That's really where the strength lies, and that is where women, Latinos, African Americans, diverse communities, we tend to focus a lot on the money. I would say focus on the people that you know, because the people that you know will take you to the money that you need, right? And will take you to the resources that you need. So consider all of us part of that network that will help support you. Having said that, I only have, Javier, how many minutes? Like about 5. I'm sure there are perhaps some curiosity in the audience about these 3 businesses, there's 3 entrepreneurs, and we have, okay, 1, 2, 3. Let's start with the first 3. Can you stand your name, say your name, and your question or observation as quickly as possible. Okay, only one. Who? I know you want three. You're gonna get one. Okay. Who has it? Bettina?
I think that for me, when I inherited my mother's bank. So when I got in the business, they thought I was the young girl that's coming to mess everything up. The relationship that they had with my parents. Obviously, they were older and they were just running bike. So when I got there and I said, I don't want to be a distributor anymore, I want to manufacture my own products, the bank said to me, straight to my face, I think you're too young, you don't know what you're doing, just follow what your parents are doing and you will be fine. Can you sign here to get, some sort of product they wanted to sell to me? And that was really hard for me. And I thought to myself, how am I going to do this if I don't get the funding because I can't use my cash to build a building and buy machinery to be able to sustain, the production that I wanted to do. So I said to my mother, you know what, that's it. I'm opening up and I'm calling every bank in Puerto Rico to come and talk to me. And they all came. And pretty much I got the same response, except for one of them that said, I already know your business. I know what you're capable of. What do you want to do? When I explained, they said, yes, we'll do it. And since then, we've had a really long relationship. They pretty much have everything that I do, in terms of credit cards and everything. And to the point that last year, I was the person they used to have their marketing for the year. So it was like my story was used by the bank to talk about, what things can be done when you actually have a plan and it's good and they know it works and it finally happened.
So, right, don't take no for an answer, right? Don't take, and I know TD Bank would have never done that to you. Never. They would have been like, of course, here's your money, right? Okay, we have one in the back. Yes.
Hi, my name is Edwin Roman. I'm proud to say that after over 20 years in the commercial banking industry, I now work for a Latina-owned utility construction firm that serves customers from here all the way down to Florida and Texas. My question is, as a small business owner starting out, one of the challenges is attracting and retaining talent, because you're in competition with firms that have been established, and your success is predicated on the team that you build and being able to keep them. What are some of the challenges in that space, and how have you overcome them?
I guess I'll share our perspective. We are a very small team still. We're a startup, we're growing. And what we've been able to do is hire contractors to help us. We still only have one full-time person, and that's Corey. My goal is to be full-time next year, and we're actually making our first hire, official hire for the company right now. So we're in the hiring process, and we know that we need to just grow our team to be able to expand and go to the next level, which is hopefully retail. So for us, it's just been a learning experience. Again, the network is the people who have sent referrals to us for, people they think would be a great fit for our team. But for us, it's been hire slow, fire fast. We're just going through that process now. We've been really slow to hire, but we know we're just being really smart because we're really just passionate about the brand, and we want the people that work for us and part of the team to also love it as much as we do. And it's also going to be, the way that we are with our customers, transparent, open, it's going to be the same as we hire people. So we're just being really just mindful, and really just exciting time for us as we make our, expansion of our team. But it's a slow process. So for us, it's just that's the way that it's been.
And we have time for one more question, which was right here on the right-hand corner. And this is like standing room only. I like it.
Thank you, sir. Hi, my name is Joseph Estafis. I'm Haitian American. My question is this. Are you looking for investors?
I am not currently.
You are not currently. Well, that's a conversation we need to have in this room with our people. And it's a very important one because, as Nestor said in the earlier remarks, the right type of capital at the right time, at the right stage of your business will make a difference. In our community, we, because of many reasons, and many of them very justified, there is a fear of debt, right? Because not all debt is good. Properly managed debt, properly acquired debt, it's fantastic. Venture capital, investments is something that, as was said earlier before, Latinos receive less than 1% of all equity investment in this country. No, I mean, it's justified that we don't know what to do with it, that we don't know how to get it, that we are afraid of it, because we do not know it, right? And I think that while everybody has their journey, their plan, I think, you know, companies like yours, with leadership like yours, are very, not knowing, not going into your financials, on the face of it, are very well poised for somebody to say, I want to invest in you. And the trick is not so much the investment, it's how it's structured, right? How much control you give up, how much control you retain, what is the exit strategy, and I see Araceli is right here. She can probably help you do all that math. But I think it's fantastic to know that somebody in the audience says, are you looking for investment? Because what that's saying to me is, there's some really interesting people right here, and with really great, potential. So she's not looking right now. She might be looking in 5 minutes, right? And so this idea of not today, but perhaps tomorrow, right? And that's entirely fine. But I think one of the things we want to make sure is that we continue to have these very important discussions about topics that are not often addressed with Latino entrepreneurs. So Javier has told me that I am wrapping up, but we're going to be, particularly those who are interested in continuing the conversation on the room outside. I want to thank Bettina, Nicole, and Shannon. Again, entrepreneurship is really a community sport. We are here as a collective to support the work that you're doing. Do reach out. I think each of you really represent a different stage of business. We have a startup, we have a diversifying business, and we have a mature scale business that has gone through the succession. I hope that each of you have learned and have taken some insights around what does it really take to own a business, grow a business, scale a business with all the challenges, right? But then with all the results and the opportunities. So each of you are creating jobs, contributing to the economy in a way that makes us proud. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now Javier.
Okay, the show continues. I guess we'll have you exit off the stage. Sure, actually, don't leave yet. You know what? Take your pictures now. Go right ahead. By the way, these companies, Yawi, Okoa, and Bettina, please follow them on all their social media. Connect with them on LinkedIn. Share your thoughts, your questions. I'm sure they're very busy and they'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Yes, Ronit? Yawi. That's Yawi, yes. All right, as they're getting their photos, we're going to move into our next part of the agenda. And again, if you're an entrepreneur, we're going to ask that you join us in the conference room down the hallway. You'll be met by my colleague, Yael Thatcher, who will introduce you into the room, and you take your seats, and we'll get started right away. For the rest of you, or any of you, please stick around. We still have more food, more coffee, And we want you to visit our tables and meet the wonderful folks that we have here for you today.